Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. What was that? Seriously. Anyway, I know it's been a while and I know that this is maybe a little early for Halloween, but I love Halloween projects. I love making Halloween projects and cards and whatever else. I'm obsessed with Halloween. So I thought I'd start early. It's not even July yet, which is normally when I start my Christmas in July, Halloween in July-ish projects, but I thought I'd start anyway. I thought, well, why not? By the time this goes up, in fact it might be July by the time this goes up. So yeah, and I know it's kind of super hot at the moment as well. Woo. So yeah, it seems a bit weird to be doing Christmas and Halloween projects, but we're going to do that anyway. Right, so I have a card base here, which is just some white cardstock. I have a black piece that is a layer that goes on top, and then some spare pieces of cardstock, which I'll show you what we're going to do with in a minute. You will only need some black ink for this as well, which I thought was clever when I designed it. And the stamp sets I'm going to use are sort of going back in time a bit, and I've got some Stampin' Up! Cookie Cutter Halloween, Graveyard Gate and Pick a Pumpkin, and I will show you as we go what we're going to do with those. I also have the Cookie Cutter Punch, which has been around, oh there's my camera, has been around for a long time. I've had these for years and years. You used to get a stamp set that actually coordinates with this, like a Christmassy one. I never got it in the end, don't know why, but I'm obsessed with Halloween, I told you. I'm going to use VersaFine Onyx Black ink as well, and I have some Distress Oxides up here, and this I'll explain in a second. So the other thing that you'll need for this, and this was a total experiment for me, is this is masking fluid. Now the one that I saw online used rubber cement, so I don't know if this is going to do the same thing. This is what I had, so this is what I decided to use. So hopefully it'll work, so we'll see. But basically what I did, just this out the way, I have a scrap piece of paper, so this is just some white copy paper, and this is a piece of regular cardstock. It is still stuck to the paper, but that's fine. And all I did was I took a, I have a, what do you call it, like a popsicle stick, I guess. They're just, in fact I've got them here. So just a popsicle stick. Now I bought these years and years ago from a local stationery store actually, and you can probably get these pretty much anywhere, even if you have had an actual popsicle lollipop kind of thing. Keep the stick, wash it obviously, and I would use the other end, the sort of non-fooded end, just in case it reacts with this. But all I did was I dipped this into this, the masking fluid, and then I just kind of dragged it all over and made a mess basically. It's kind of like old school scribbling where we used to then colour in all the different sections. So yeah, so I just kind of dragged it in, and once you start, you can actually you can use the stick to kind of pull where you've got like extra. You can kind of pull that out and sort of make some sort of design on there. And then of course you need to let it dry. This has actually been sitting overnight, so it's well dry, but it's kind of tacky still. So we're going to see how this works. And once you've done that, you need to decide what colours you want to use. So I'm going to use oxides, and I'm going to use brush, well, the makeup brushes for me. Not for me, I don't use these on my face, but these things. I'm going to use these just because I think probably better than a sponge dauber. Let me just grab them. Purple one, and don't really have one that I was using as a black one, so well, I suppose maybe probably this one. And I thought this would be better on here, just because I think a regular sponge dauber might stick a bit too much to this. I don't know, it's kind of tacky. We'll see. But I've basically chosen 3 colours. Just get some of this stuff out the way. And I am going to, if I can find them, I just have this stuff that I put onto on my mat so that it doesn't, can't talk today, these things don't move around too much. So I'm going to start with, the Seedless Preserves, so the purple one, and I kind of know what I'm doing on the bottom section, so I'm going to start, I think, at maybe a bit of an angle. I don't know. Let's just start and we'll see what happens. And you want to get lots of ink on it. Because you do want that impact when you take this off, the sticky stuff off. I say sticky stuff. It's not sticky, it's like tacky. So now I have some chipped sapphire. Now, I thought these were nice Halloween colours. Right, just going to go back and forth a bit, like so. And now the black soot. Just at the top here. I think with any ink, the key thing is not to be afraid to use it. So yeah, don't be afraid that you're going to get ink in things like your pads, things like that. You can always wipe them off. Yeah, just don't be afraid to use them. I'm going back to my, what is this one? Chip Sapphire. There we go. Those out the way. So now I'm going to grab a piece of paper towel. Let me zoom you in a bit more. That's a bit better. You can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go gently over the top just to rub off any excess ink that might be sat on here, and then also, well, I don't know if it'll come off on its own, but it'll help to also dry the ink a bit, because oxides and distress ink by default are going to stay wet for longer. And then hopefully when I come to actually peeling this off, it won't be, hopefully the ink won't transfer onto what's underneath. So underneath should just be a white background. Now let's see, should be able to just use your finger. The big reveal. And it should somewhat peel off. It's actually working better than I thought it was going to work. So I'm very, very happy about this. Look at this. It's like boogers. Sorry. What better place to say it than on a Halloween video? peel it off. And you can see I'm not being very gentle. And check that out. Check for any other rogue boogers. Oh, there's another one. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Obviously some of these are quite thick, so what I might do, because the original project, because of the rubber cement, it kind of maybe gave thinner lines. So I don't know that I like the stark white on this. So I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go back over with my ink without re-inking and just sort of soften that. So we'll do that now. Get this one out the way now. So I just start with the what was this one? Seedless preserves, can't talk. And then just following that up a bit. It's very cool though. Just softens it a little. See how it makes a big difference to that, I think. You could leave it white and that'd be fine. But I just felt like it was too stark. Especially Halloween, you don't want anything stark. There we go. I think that will do. Big old arm. Right, so there you go. It's very, very simple to do, guys. But like I say, just leave it to dry, the masking fluid to dry. And like I say, rubber cement is what I actually saw someone use, so there's that. Right, so next bit, I'm going to leave this to dry just a little bit, and I will cut it down slightly. So this is the original colour, and that's what we created. So the next thing I want to do is take these two colours. So this is Cajun Craze, and I believe this is Sahara Sand, I want to say. Stampin' Up cardstock. So on the Cajun Craze, I'm going to stamp some pumpkins. I was going to use black. Yeah, I'm gonna use some black ink. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. We're doing it. And I'm just gonna grab a few of these sort of sizes, I think, of the pumpkins. I'm just gonna get them stamped randomly on here. What I also do is I use a baby wipe most of the time for cleaning up. So I'll just fold one in half and then sit it off to one side. I can actually get some of this stuff out of the way. And I just set it off to the side, and then I will ink and then clean as I go. So VersaFine, Onyx Black, pumpkins, and I'm going to leave a bit of space because I want to die cut these out. So that's that dude, and then you can just wipe off the ink. I'm not worried when it comes to Halloween projects. I don't worry if it's sort of that's not solidly stamped, if that makes sense. I don't actually worry about that too much because it's Halloween. So I think the somewhat messier the better when it comes to Halloween projects. one on here. And let's do this size one. This is super easy to do. Now, if you're not into Halloween, use the same idea and make it into Christmas cards if Christmas is your thing, or winter cards, or birthday cards. Just take the same idea and use it for something else. I just think, you know, once we've got the ideas in our heads, it's nice to have different ways of using them. So you can take one sketch. Remember the old days when you used to find thousands of them. In fact, you probably still could find them online. These sort of sketches of like different layouts and things for. So if you find a layout for a, say a scrapbook page, you could then use the same idea for a card. So same sort of idea here, where although this is Halloween, you can still use this for any time of year. So now I'm taking the, what is this, the cookie cutter Halloween, geez, say that 3 times fast, and I'm taking the mummy, hence the colour of this cardstock, and I'm just going to stamp him there. The mummy! I don't think I need anything else for him. Right, and then what I'm going to do is for him, I'm going to use the punch. See if I left myself enough room. Just about. Just going to line it up. Stamped him too far up. No, typical. That's that. And there are all these other bits that cut out. They're like, supposed to be for like a gingerbread man, so there's a little bow tie, and I think these are cheeks or something, so little hearts and stuff. But there's our little mummy. And then I will just quickly go, and I have got the coordinating dies for this set, so let's just see here. So I will go and get these cut out, and I'll be back. Right, so now I've got all those pieces cut out and ready to go. We're going to use something old school, so a bit like the stamp set, this is all old school. So I've got a Stampin'-A-Jig. So if you have one of these, grab this. This is probably the easiest way to do this, I think. You can eyeball it, but that's up to you. But I think that this is probably the best idea for this so far. So what I'm going to do first of all is, and I have all my stamps ready on blocks, because you don't want to be, you don't want to move those blocks. So I've got some temporary adhesive. And I know that seems a lot, but I really don't want it to move. And I think I'm going to have it this way, so no, I'm going to need to do it this way, I think. Is this going to work on? this might not work on there, so actually let's do it the other way around. Right, so that's stuck to my surface. So the first thing I'm going to do is, ignoring this in the background, you're going to line up your plastic sheet in the corner of your Stampin' Majig, just on your work surface. Find an angle that you're happy with. Then you're going to take your ink. Now, actually for this bit, I would suggest a like a dye-based ink rather than a permanent ink on here. And I'm just going to use my oxide. And you're going to first of all just ink up. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you're just going to ink up your stamp with this butted up into the corner of the handle. You then put the corner of the block into the corner of the handle and just stamp down. That just gives you an impression of where this is going to go. So then I'm going to get the ink that I actually want to use, which is my VersaFine. Just going to clean this off. Right. And now what I want to do is line this up where I want it on the sheet. So I'm kind of eyeballing this part because I don't know how much space I'm going to have either side for the walls. So I'm just going to line it up where I think I want it. You're then going to butt this up the corner of the handle into the corner of the sheet without moving it. Once it's lined up, you're going to hold this and remove your sheet. Grab your ink, your stamp, and ink it up. Just sort this out because that's going to irritate. And then you're going to go into the corner and stamp down. Once you've stamped down, you can then remove your handle, and hopefully it will be where I want it. Now, because it's Halloween, I don't care if it's not completely perfectly solid, although that is the idea, which is why I'm using the VersaFine, because it's really good for that. And there we have our cool thingy bob. What's that called? Gate. So we're going to do the same thing again. I'm going to bring my sheet in because I've still got that on there. Obviously, if you didn't want more than one, you could skip that bit and go on to the next image. And this hopefully is dry enough. I'm going to line up the two gates. Could have gone more that way, but it's fine. I'm going to trim it down anyway. So I'm going to line up my two gates now. Put the handle back in place. And then do exactly the same thing again. Re-ink my stamp. Corner into the corner of the handle, press down, and hey presto. If these were clear stamps, you could probably use something like a like a MISTI or a stamping tool or a stamp platform, whatever they're calling them these days. And then that way, you know you're going to get it in the right place. So, bit of clean up there. So that one's done. Now I want to do, I might actually swap this block out. Just because. And I have stuff everywhere. Just because I work better with this like a square block. Right, let's get that out of the way. So before I carry on, I need to clean this as well. So that's why I say what do you call it? A dye-based ink will just clean off much easier. Just make sure it's dry. So again, first thing you're going to do, ignoring this bit, is grab your next stamp that you want to use, ink it up in some dye ink. I'm just using oxide. Pop the plastic into the corner of the handle, corner of the block into the corner of the handle, and stamp down. Now you have your, what's the name? Oh, look at that. Now you have your like template, I guess, is what we could call that. And I'm just gonna get some of this muck off here. It's black ink, so that's why my hands look like that. So I'm going to now line up where I want my, what is this, like a pillar, I guess? So lining it up against the fence, pop the handle back into the corner of the plastic sheet so you know where you want your block and stamped image to go. Ink it up, pop it back down into the corner of the handle. Hey presto! It's where you want it. We're going to do the same thing again on the other side. Line it up again. Ink. Once you get in the swing of it, it's quite straightforward and pretty easy to do. Like so. So that's that one. And then I want to, I'm just going to turn this round. I will clean this up in a minute. I'm just going to turn it around so I don't ink myself. Oh, I'm just going to use this ink. My battery's dying. Again, I'm going to line this up. You get the idea. It's pretty repetitive, and like I say, once you get into it, it's pretty cool to do. Like, it's quite a nice technique, and actually I miss using this. I forget that I have it to use for things like this, so don't forget what you have. Easier said than done, of course. Ta-da! I'm just going to, and then I do have my little enter if you dare, but I don't know. Oh, he might work. Right, so let's do the same thing again. I'm just going to pop this in here. Open if you dare. And I think I'm going to pop that about there. That's nearly perfect. Perfect enough, right? Make sure you have this the right way up, especially if you've got words. Yeah, ask me how I know that. Right, so I think that is the base of all this kind of stamping. So I've got all my main pieces on here. Just get this off my tabletop. So there's the base of our card. Now you could leave this like this and just add some bats in the back. Bats, we need bats. Oh, we need bats. I've got a little bat here. I'm going to add some bats as well. You could just leave it like that. I'm going to trim this down so I'm not worried that it's off center, but this would make a cool Halloween card just because it looks kind of cool, I think. But we're going to add some more, so I will just trim this down and I will be back. I will also add the bats. I'm just going to eyeball those ones. Right, so I've trimmed it down. I also have a black layer underneath, and I was going to put these on here, which is what we stamped earlier and I cut out, but I don't actually like it. So I actually prefer just this. So I think I'm going to just do this for this card. So this is super simple. This is like a bit of stamping, bit of masking fluid, job done. And then because I have originally, I wasn't going to, the white in the background where we had the masking fluid, I wasn't going to actually sort of ink over the top. That would have tied in better with the white card base. So to get around that, I'm going to just use some of the oxide again, black oxide. Should I use the black oxide or should I use, let's be bold, let's just use the Seedless Preserves, and I'm just going to go around the edge of this. Very easy, very quick. And I just think that's going to make a big difference to that there. So let me so organized. So I think I'm just going to now layer all these pieces up. So, should I use some glue or some tape? Glue's easier. If it works, because you know me, I have issues with this. Sort of working for me today. Go on here, like so. And then just adhesive on here. Enter if you dare. Mwahahaha. Yep, I said that out loud. Right. Just for a second. So I could still put these on here, but I actually think it looks nicer without them. So I can use these for something else. Also, there's none of these colours. I mean, this one's not so bad because there's a bit of that sort of tone in there, but there's no orange anywhere, so I don't think it works. So I will keep these and I will use them on another card, and you'll see, maybe what I'll do is I'll do another this is kind of a long video, but I'll do a quick version and do something with these guys. Don't know what, but yeah. I'll figure something out. So there you go. And I added the bats in as well. And I always do odd numbers. So even if there's like a group of even numbers, I make sure that in total there's odd numbers, if that makes sense. There you go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. And I will see you in the next one. Happy Halloween!